Before there was Bannerlord, before the mods and the sieges and the massive battles, there was Mount and Blade. Released in 2008, it wasn't made by a huge studio, didn't have millions in marketing, and honestly, it looked rough. But behind the low-budget visuals was something special, a medieval sandbox that gave players complete freedom to carve their own path through living, breathing world. No prophecy, no destined hero, just you, a sword and a horse, and a dream to make a name for yourself in calradia. So today we're diving into the full story of Mount and Blade, how it was made, how it played, its unique plot, and how it built the foundation for one of the PC's gaming's most beloved series. The story of Mount and Blade is almost as unlikely as the stories it lets you create. It began not in a big studio, but rather in a small apartment in Ankara, Turkey. Armagan Yavuz and his wife İpek Yavuz founded a tiny independent studio called Taleworlds Entertainment in 2002, and their goal? To make the medieval combat game they always wanted to play, one where battles felt real, where the player's rise to power wasn't scripted, and where the world didn't revolve around a chosen one or the player. Development of the game started with almost no resources. Armagan programmed the engine himself from scratch, while İpek handled the art and design. Instead of going through a publisher, they took a bold approach, releasing the game digitally in early alpha form on their website and letting players buy it in early to support the development. The community-driven approach, years before early access, became a thing, and built a community around Mount and Blade. Players would buy early versions, test features, and send feedback directly to the developers. Bit by bit, Taleworlds expanded the game's scope. By the time Mount and Blade officially released on September 16, 2008, it had already been through several beta stages and had a loyal fanbase. The final version was published by Paradox Interactive, who will help distribute it to a wider audience. Despite its indie visuals and small scale, critics and players were blown away by the depth of its systems and the freedom it offered. It didn't just simulate combat, it simulated a whole living and breathing world. And the success of the original quickly led to the expansions and sequels. Mount and Blade Warband, released in 2010, refined mechanics, added multiplayer, and became the definitive version. Mount and Blade with Fire and Sword, released in 2011, shifted to early modern gunpowder warfare, and Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, released in 2020, a full modern sequel that took everything to the next level. But it all started with his humble 2008 release, the game that proved passion could beat the budget. Explaining Mount and Blade's gameplay isn't easy because it's not just one genre, it's several blended together. At its core, it's an open-world medieval sandbox RPG. You start with almost nothing, a bit of money, a sword, and a horse. No prophecy, no scripted tutorial, just freedom. The world of calradia is at the war, divided into rival factions constantly fighting for land and power, and you decide how you want to survive in it. You could start as a mercenary joining a noble's army for gold and glory, or you could become a trader hauling goods between cities to build your fortune, or you could forge your own army, recruit villagers, and slowly build a force strong enough to take castles and claim your own kingdom. Combat is where Mount and Blade truly shines. Instead of click to attack or dice roll systems, it used full physics-based directional melee combat, incredibly rare at the time. Every swing, block, and strike depended on player timing and positioning. Combine that with large-scale battles involving hundreds of troops, and you had something that felt raw, chaotic, and deeply satisfying. Mounted combat was crown jewel. Charging into a group of infantry with a lance or swinging a sword from horseback felt incredible, and even today, few games capture the same kinetic energy. And outside the battles, the game plays like a grand strategy title. You travel across world map, managing your troops' morale and wages, and interact with lords, kings, and bandits. Your choices affect your reputation, some factions will welcome you, and others will hunt you down. There's no fixed story or ending, you build your own. Maybe you'll become a loyal vassal to a great king, or maybe you'll overthrow him. Maybe you'll be a feared raider, or a benevolent ruler uniting calradia under your banner. And once you get tired of that, well, the modding community has your back. From Lord of the Rings total conversions to Star Wars and Game of Thrones mods, Mount and Blade flexibility made it one of the most heavily modded single-player games ever. For an indie game built by two people, Mount and Blade offered the kind of emergent, player-driven storytelling that even massive studios struggle to achieve. And the plot? Well, in Mount and Blade, that's again entirely up to you. There's no main quest lines, no villain to defeat, no world-ending prophecy. The story of Mount and Blade is whatever you make it. Your character's background, whether you start as a peasant, noble, or merchant, just sets the stage for further events. From there, the narrative unfolds organically through your actions. Maybe your journey begins as a sellsword fighting for the Swadian lords. Maybe you're betrayed, captured, and rebuilt from nothing. Or maybe you'll rise from obscurity to carve your own kingdom out of calradia's endless wars. Each player campaign becomes its own legend, filled with victories, defeats, and alliances forged and broken. That freedom of narrative is what made the game timeless. When Mount and Blade released in 2008, critics were surprised. Most didn't know what to make of it. Its graphics were outdated, its animation stiff, and the voice acting...
Everything has a price.
Well, let's just say it wasn't winning any awards recently. But once people actually played it, the tone changed fast. Reviewers praised the ambition and depth hidden beneath its indie roughness. IGN called it a remarkable sandbox, and PC Gamer lauded its combat as the best horseback fighting ever seen in a game. It didn't score huge mainstream numbers, most reviews landed in the 7s, but word of mouth was overwhelmingly positive. Players loved the sense of freedom and realism. Forums lit up with tales of heroic last stands, sieges, and even betrayals. Most importantly, Mount and Blade became a foundation. It inspired countless developers and spawned a thriving modding community that kept it alive for years. When Warband released in 2010, many saw it not as a sequel but as the final perfected form of the original version. Mount and Blade wasn't flashy, it didn't have the budget of Oblivion or the polish of The Witcher, but it had something they didn't: freedom. It let players tell their own stories, wage their own wars, and shape their own worlds. It felt personal, unpredictable, and alive. From two developers in Turkish apartment to one of the most respected medieval RPG series ever made, Mount and Blade proved that ambition and passion could rival any AAA studio. And even now, all those years later, it remains one of the most unique RPGs ever created. A game that gave players something simple but powerful, the freedom to write their own legend. And with all of that said, it's time to end the video. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video.
Ah!